Hi everyone, so I'm actually downstairs taking a walk before I get back to doing stuff. So as you all can tell, it's pretty late at night. I don't really know if anyone is aware, but this starting from actually the last weekend, which was actually I think the the 3rd of August, uh, by the Western calendar, but by the so-called the lunar calendar, which is in Chinese culture and also in Korean culture, to basically East Asian culture. The lunar calendar is actually the so-called Hungry Ghost Festival. So the whole idea of the spirits from the underworld being released into the this world to seek for some form of reparation or some kind of food or some kind of whatever during this period of time, which is basically a period of at least 1 month, according to. But 1 month in the lunar calendar is very different from 1 month in the Western calendar. So it's going to be like a kind of like a so-called period of so-called supernatural manifestation and everything that goes on this month. So for some strange reason, I think that most of us, those who grew up in let's say Chinese or even Korean culture, these two cultures are very close. Although despite some differences in the kind of religion, like Taoism in Chinese culture and even shamanism in Korean culture, but there's kind of like a common link in terms of the beliefs and local deities. And I would say that generally there's some very interesting things, especially I was thinking about this because there's a recent program in Korean television. It's actually a reality TV dating show. By the English title is actually Possessed Love. Okay, so the Korean title Shin Yone, which basically if you translate into English in a kind of like a transliteration, it's more like the love that is being how do you say, favored or acted upon by the gods. So there's this whole sense of the divine deities, at least in the native shamanistic religion of Korea, that they have kind of agency to play within love affairs. And so the premise of the particular plot was about there's a kind of basic premise. Basically, it's 4 men and 4 women, or 4 guys and 4 girls, who are placed in this kind of situation, this living situation. Obviously, it's very similar to things like Singles Inferno, whatever. We have a lot of these kind of things in Western reality TV dating shows. But the difference in that premise is that all four guys and all 4 girls, the 8 of them, they're all fortune tellers in Korean society. When we say fortune tellers, they're very different from what we are used to in Western society. So fortune telling, there are many kinds of fortune telling in Korean society. So there is like the common one which came in from the West, which is basically tarot card reading. So quite a number of the characters, the 8 characters, are actually tarot card readers. But some of the other 2 forms of fortune telling, one of them is called Saju. Saju in Korean fortune telling is basically similar to what we call, I think in Western culture, it's called natal chart or the birth chart. So basically by your so-called 8 characters, it's very similar to the 8 characters in Chinese culture. So Saju is very similar, yeah. So by the time you're born, your like all this, the hour, the day, the time, and the constellations, the zodiac signs, they can gather certain things about character, your life and everything. That is Saju reading. And then the third category, okay, of which is actually very native to Korean culture, is basically shamanism. So there was actually, I believe that among 2 of the men, yes, actually was shamans. One of them was actually he was very new to the thing. He actually practiced. I think the character of Park EU, yeah, I-YUL, Park EU. He actually is an exorcist, so he's supposed to drive out like evil spirits or dark spirits out of people. And then there's another one by the name of Lee Hongzhou, who's actually this shaman who has actually started showing signs of this kind of prodigy as a shaman from a very young age, but probably around 6. Supposedly from what he told, in his interview, like in all these parts of the reality TV show, from the age of 6 he started having all those kind of like revelations and everything. He could do the sword dance. The sword dance is a very native shamanistic ritual again. So yeah, it's common to I think Mongolian and Siberian shamanism, but also even Korean shamanism has it, and I think even northern Chinese forms of shamanism. So you have this woman or man who can actually take 2 swords, not really long blades, but they're quite short, probably the length of our forearm, okay, or even shorter, and then they start dancing around with these blades. Although, and supposedly what Lee Hongzhou said was that from the age of 6, he started having all these kind of revelations. He could, see all the spirits, including the deities and everything. And sometimes he could do the sword dance without being taught how to do it. And he could actually also, in his rituals, he said that he could actually be possessed by some, some spirits, but predominantly the spirits of generals, army generals, what we say Changgun in Korean culture, which is obviously in Chinese culture it's Jiangjun. So Jiangjun in Chinese, but in Korean culture it's called Changgun. So the thing is this, when it comes to this whole thing about this dating show, although it's a dating program, and the 4 guys and girls are being placed in a living situation where they have to face each other, day to day for a period of time, and then throughout the whole period of time, every 1 or 2 days or whatever, make those kind of decisions as to who they favor, because they are all fortune tellers. Their profession, okay, which they are supposed to keep quiet about for the first few days, I think at least for the first 1 or 2 days, turns out to actually influence their decisions making processes a lot. Okay, so for example, you have one very memorable scene. There are quite a few memorable scenes, I would say. I only watched the first episode so far, in at least probably in its entirety, yeah. But it's pretty freaky and creepy at sometimes. Like when you have, for example, there's one scene. I think it's by the second episode, but I'm not sure, because there were like previews, basically where, let's say Cui Hana, okay, she's a tarot card reader. She fancies the shaman Lee Hongzhou, and she tries to do this kind of thing to get him to do flag divination. What's flag divination? Flag divination in Korean culture or shamanism is where, let's say, a few different color of flags, white, green, red, blue. I'm not sure what the colors there are. Quite a number of these things. So this flags, the colors actually represent something. So they all roll up together. So what you're supposed to do, the one who is the querent, just like tarot card reading, she's supposed to pick one flag, okay, while thinking about the person, just without thinking about it, just tap the flag, the one particular pole, without looking, because you wouldn't know, because everything's rolled up into one bundle. And then the shaman is supposed to actually just roll about in his both hands, holding without while he's sort of closing his eyes. Then after that, he was supposed to pull out one flag from the bundle. The thing that one scene is very memorable because because the one thing is that Lee Hongzhou, on the first time that Cui Hana actually asked about things, she asked about the question without telling him that she was fancying him, okay, that she really liked him, okay. She pulled out a white flag. I don't really know whether anyone is very aware of what this symbolism of the white flag or even the later other flags are. I don't know everything, but what I know is that the white flag is it's just like an impasse. Like we say Beki, Chonggi Beki. Okay, in Korean, Chonggi Beki, 青旗白旗 in Chinese. Even in Chinese, you have a similar kind of symbolism. So, Chonggi Beki is like, for example, he pulls out the white flag, and she thought, oh, am I out of luck? She said something like Hingwun and something like that. I was like, Opsoyo. He said something like, oh, I'm out of luck. There's no luck. So I think she asked for one more time. He said, okay, let's do it again. Obviously, I don't know if he's aware that she's actually asking a question about him and her. And then he did it one more time again. He plucked out the green flag. And then, okay, the thing is, with all, most of these Korean reality TV dating shows, there's so-called host, okay? A bunch of celebrities and well-known people, or at least people in the entertainment industry, including, actress Yoo Ina, okay? And I think Shin Dong-yeop, yeah, one of the hosts of some Saturday Night Live SNL Korea. So they were like looking upon the thing, and they were like making comments. And there was a special guest who was actually I think a shaman. He saw the thing, and then he was like he was always musing and smiling, and I kind of is in the know of what is going on, because he's aware of all these rituals and what they mean. And then obviously the actress Yoo Ina, and then Shin Dong-yeop, she was like, what does it mean? Or there's another guy, very pretty boy face host, who's also probably a celebrity. It's like, oh, I'm doing the, like, oh, you mean it's not possible? It was explained by one of the, later on we get to see it, like one of the shamans, the female shaman in the group, the cast of 4 guys and 4 girls. What's her name? Ham Soo-hyun. Yeah, she's a shaman, a 3rd generation shaman from her family line. So the one thing was that she actually said, oh, it's a no then. And then the host who were watching from the kind of rebroadcast of what happened back then in the live was like, oh, so you mean it's not the broadcast, but from another room in the TV studio. Oh, so you mean it's not exactly possible? And then the one special guest who's supposedly a shaman would be saying, oh, this actually is like in Korean culture or shamanism, basically means that when you have a green flag, it represents denial, impasse, or failure. Basically, something what we call manghejin. Yeah. So the thing is this. Obviously, the green flag. Yeah, I'm just trying to be careful about my surroundings while I'm walking. You can't really know what happens, even with you might get robbed or whatever. I mean, although Singapore is pretty safe, but yeah, I'm still very careful, because some people they could be drunk or whatever. Now it's like 10 something. So the thing is this, and some people are just racist. You don't know if they are gonna attack you just based on you being a foreigner. Although I don't think this kind of things happen, but they will stare at you and things like. Okay, but back to what was going on. The Chonggi Beki thing is a representation of what happens like between Choi Hana and basically who else? The shaman Yi Hongzhou, whom she was having a crush on. And obviously, it's like some people were saying, I read the Instagram remarks for that clip, okay? It was posted by a Mudang, basically another shaman, who was obviously videotaping or actually recording that moment. Okay, in the show, it's really viral in Korea, because it's like, which dating program has 4 guys and 4 girls who are all fortune tellers, like Saju readers, tarot card readers, and even shamans. We say shamans, obviously, I think it's very alien to the Western world, but it says certain things about the Eastern culture that I think things that I grew up in, especially being in Singapore, and even when I was young, things like that, it's very familiar to me. And even in Korean culture, you have some things like that. And that of course, like a lot of Koreans are mostly Christians, whether Protestant, evangelical, or Orthodox Christians, or even some of them are just Buddhists. But there's this kind of like a strong roots in shamanism and shamanistic culture, and even in Chinese culture too. There the whole belief that let's say your your so-called destiny, heng wun, your luck, or even unmyong, okay? What's it called in Chinese? 命运, yeah, 命运 or 命理, something. That all these kind of things can actually play a role in how you carry out certain activities, and that there are higher, like either higher powers or lower infernal powers affecting you. And the thing is this. It's very loud. Okay. The thing is this. It's very unlike what like the Western world. There's this kind of black and white thinking in terms of the Western world, that what is from below the other world of hell, the other is basically evil, which is not the way that is being seen in Chinese or Korean culture, because that actually we watch that, and you realize, anyone who knows anything about shamanism in Korean culture, is that a lot of the shamans, for example, I don't really know about Park EU, but like in case of like who's the shaman who carries out exorcisms, but let's say for Lee Hongzhou, he said that from a very young age he started having all this power, all these manifestations of the spiritual. And even for this Han Soo-hyun, the female shaman, who's very pretty, actually she's a very, very pretty girl. I was like, wow, this is a shaman who's very young. She's in her 20s, maybe early to mid 20s at the most, and she looks like a Korean actress, like a Korean. She could be in even a K-pop group, although she looks too old to be in one right now, but she looks kind of old for that, because most of them are below 20. But she's still pretty, and then I was like, how is it possible that she's in there? And then I realized that, she's a third generation shaman. Her grandmother was a shaman, and both her parents were shamans. And there's one clip when they asked her about her fate, how did she end up accepting that as a destiny. So she said something about her pain being gone after she accepted that destiny, because she said that, I really, really hated it, but as I started doing it, it became more and more fun and even fascinating. And I think there's one cut to what she was doing. She was standing on the platform. It was elevated. There was a kind of railing or rack she was holding on to while she was dressed in the shaman's dress, and with the helmet, everything, the ritual dress. And one very interesting thing was that she was standing on some kind of I don't know, it's like plates, metallic plates or whatever. And I think that in Korean culture it's called jakdu. Jakdu is all these they're little blades actually. So, and it's a little bit similar to what you see sometimes in like Hindu festivals, where people are pierced during the festival of Thaipusam with all these needles, and they don't seem to be feeling any pain. They don't even bleed. And that was exactly what happens. They say that, I saw that scene where she was stepping on those silver metallic plates, and I was like, jakdu is basically it's this whole idea that when the shaman has been possessed by the deity or the spirit, there's an immense form of like spiritual energy or power from the deity, the god or the goddess or the deity, which goes into the the shaman's body. And so the shaman's body becomes kind of like superhuman, or at least it's something really paranormal. I know. Okay, we just suspend the whole thing about this. Now I know that some people who grew up in Christian or culture or whatever will say, this is a satanic. I don't want to, I don't entertain any more of this kind of like stuff. Although I'm Christian, but I don't like people who talk all this kind of stuff. And it's very black and white thinking. It's very magical thinking, and you're ready to just criticize other cultures and everything, whatever. But back to the whole thing. Okay. We're talking about this whole thing about this. Why am I mentioning this thing about possessed love? Okay, the reason why I'm talking about it, this is very long. I've been talking a lot about it, the plot, everything, but it just reminds me of one thing. One thing concerning the whole premise of spiritual possession. I had an uncle in the gym whom I was telling about this. He said, they're all fakes. No, I don't think they're fakes. I think they're for real. The reason why I say this, I know that atheists and people who are agnostic, they're just like people who are scientific will just say, oh, this is fake. Oh, they can give you some reasons, whatever. And I mean, it's fine if you want to believe in that kind of thing that is not real. Christians will jumping and saying, oh, it's demonic, whatever. I mean, or Muslims to do that kind of stuff. But I'm not talking about that. I'm relating this to what it actually meant for me in terms of that whole, especially when I was in a very narcissistic kind of grooming situation relationship. I said before many times, it was like, I mean, it's like considered about 8 years ago. I don't have much of that. I don't want to remember anything. I just kind of like say, oh, I had certain experiences which are paranormal or spiritual, even as a Christian. And I want to put that aside because, now I realize that certain things happening. And I told my friend about this a Taiwanese friend about this possessed love, this thing. She said, oh yeah, I watched that. She said, isn't it kind of weird? All the 4 guys and girls who were like fortune tellers, they are also young and good looking. They don't even look like they are fortune tellers. They don't even look old. They don't look like they are down and out who are doing all these kind of things to survive. In fact, most of them are actually seemingly doing quite well. And I mean, it's just a part of Korean culture. It's a society that thrives a lot on this kind of belief in fortune telling, that you can dictate your destiny by some higher power and everything. Even despite the fact that it's deeply religious on other fronts, like the belief in Christianity, Buddhism, and maybe even Confucianism and things like that. But but I was just telling her, I told her, the reason why it kind of resonated in a sense as a reality TV show was that, the whole idea of finding love through the so-called stars, through the gods or the higher powers. I told her this one thing. I told her, do you know that actually I used to do tarot card reading before in the past? And she said, yeah, I know. She was aware before I became Orthodox, or even while I was a Christian, I was still doing it, on and off. Okay, I don't do it for I don't call on powers or whatever. I told her, that I actually can do psychic reading without even using cards. When I say psychic reading, I don't mean just kind of like what should I say? Some of the things like astral projection, things like that, or dream walking. I'm not talking about sleepwalking. I'm talking about dream states where you can see things that people don't normally see, like what other people are doing. I saw what my ex was doing. I saw what a colleague was doing. My ex-boss was doing too, and things like that. And she asked me, so were you very accurate in that? I said, yeah, I was actually pretty good, surprisingly, at doing all these things that I so-called foretold and predicted, even through the cards or even through my intuition and all these experiences. They were so true, to the point that I was so scared. I was so scared because every time I saw it or experienced it, they came true, and they were not always what I wanted. Okay, I didn't really actually want them to come true. I just brushed them off as some kind of maybe it's a fear, maybe it's kind of like my overthinking, or maybe it's just my tendency of my mind to ruminate too much and overthink. That was what I explained to her as. But she asked me about something else. She said, so what made something about what made me stop. I told her the story of actually what happened, 2 or 3 weeks before the passing of my grandmother. Actually, it's a very strange thing, because even a few weeks before that happened, okay, I'm not sure whether anyone I've mentioned this in prior videos or whatever, but I felt really, really sick. It was actually the point of the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial, but I felt so sick. It was so sick. I thought I was going to was I having a flu? It wasn't really a flu. It felt like some people told me it's a stomach flu. Like my coach, my trainer, saw my picture and said, you just recovered from stomach flu. No, it's not a stomach flu. It was a very serious kind of I don't know, it's like NDE, it's like a near-death experience kind of thing, or cold or something. It felt really weird. I was falling really, really sick. Okay, so in that kind of situation, the way I didn't realize it until now, but I told that Taiwanese friend who asked me about it based on that program. I said, So what exactly happened? I said, it was like I felt as if my body, my mind, and my soul were trying to acquire something or anticipate something that's going to happen soon to someone. Some kind of empathic mirroring or something. Like some people do that. Okay, it's like the kind of on a spiritual psychic realm, you actually mirror what someone's going through. And I told her, that actually I had a very strange inkling. Something in my intuition was telling me, you might experience or see a death in your family soon. I was like, oh no, this is not good. So, when my grandmother, the night before it happened, I was really scared. I said, all this is coming true. So why is it happening? And I was praying, asking God, please don't, let her survive this, let her live and everything. But that's why after this, after the funeral, after the passing, okay, I'm talking about this because of all this. There's a Hungry Ghost Festival. I can see that all this people burning ash, silver, we call silver paper or hell money or this kind of things that to the spirits. But I'm not supposed to. I don't criticize anyone. These are your beliefs and everything. So it's the thing out of my respect for. I have a lot more respect for Buddhists and Taoists compared to, let's say, some Christians. Some Christians are really horrible people. But that's the thing. That's another separate issue. But the whole thing about this empathetic mirroring or empathic mirroring, I told my friend about this and she said, wow. She said this in Chinese, obviously, because she's Taiwanese and she's not good in English. She said, like, it's so scary, like the fact that you foresaw and kind of predicted without even wanting it, and it came true. I said, yeah. That's why I told her I stopped doing my tarot card reading. I just told, I got to stop doing it. I got to stop, even if it's just like 1 or 2 times just for fun or whatever, or out of some curiosity. I can't do this anymore. I can't. And actually, really, I remember I prayed to God once. I said, God, I don't want to there are certain, like anyone who has done tarot know that there's nothing really that spiritual. It's not that spiritual or evil as you think it is, but there are some kind of like psychological patterns in it, the symbols, the archetypes. Anyone who comes from a psychology background will know, okay, this is why it works. Because your belief in it and the mind operates in archetypes and everything. The more you believe and look to these archetypes, the more they'll come true. That's the power of faith, okay? Faith is a power to compel things into existence. And I stopped doing that. I couldn't bring myself when I was realizing, like things that I don't want to happen keep on happening, and I saw a lot of things. And the whole thing was this: when I actually responded to one thing with this online shaman. Actually, she was posting things about her shamanistic rituals called the mudang, Mudang. Mudang in Korean culture is basically a shaman. Normally it's a female, but there are male mudangs. They're called, what is it called? Aksu? I think it's Aksu Mudang or something. Baksu Mudang, or I think Shin Sam. I can't remember the term anymore, but generally Sana Mudang, yeah. So the whole thing is this male mudang or female mudangs, they tend to have this thing about spiritual possession. They start feeling some sickness when they're young, and then they supposedly it's being interpreted by other shamans as a kind of like a sign that there's some possession by some spiritual, is a deity or spirit. Could be evil spirit, could be just a deity. But they call it Shinpyeong. That means god disease. Basically, yeah, you're sick because the god has taken control of you, a god or gods. Okay, and until you start accepting your destiny to really become a shaman, you might even fall sick. And there's some people who actually, in the Christian context, even Korean, my friend was telling me, he said, one thing, a shaman actually told my friend to convert to Christianity because she was having all these things and she didn't want to convert she didn't want to become a shaman. Then I said, oh, then you have to actually convert to Christianity because the God of the Christian faith is a different God. These gods and spirits will leave you alone from there on. So, oh wow, okay. So that's why my friend who's a Chinese American told me all this stuff about his so-called Korean friend converted because of shaman. I was like, wow, this is really, really converted to become Christian. I was like, this is really crazy. So I mean, it's freaky to some people, but to me, it's not freaky. And I was telling my friends like, oh, some friends are, like even my Hindu friend thinks I'm freaky. She thinks, oh, Kevin, you can do things like that, like astral project and or dream walking. But I don't know. Maybe it's true, maybe it isn't. But who cares? And people will laugh at it and even mock me for that. But that's one thing. The whole thing about why it actually made me stop. It just reminded me, that particular reality TV dating show or reality TV drama, okay. And then, but that aside, there was another thing actually. Oh, my teeth looks much whiter, but okay, that's another thing. There's another issue about this. Back to the whole thing. What the uncle said, all fakes. No, I think I can recognize spiritual possession when I see one. I know now because that even as a Christian, that okay. I think I've been talking about this before. When we say are narcissistic people, are narcissists possessed. I actually told the uncle. He's an atheist, but he has a Christian family and he doesn't get along with his Christian family because they're very fanatical. But that's another thing. But I told him, you haven't seen when someone actually starts manifesting spiritual or demonic presence, have you? Because I have. Okay, I've seen it. I've seen it in the ex-groomer. The eyes changing color. Teeth bud. The molars, like the serpent's tooth, the serpent's fangs, ready to actually tear me apart. And then saliva splattering when they speak. Because they have a little bit of an overbite. As if it's like venom. Okay? So the thing is this. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. You cannot unsee it. I seen it. I've been at the edge. I even have experiences in my dreams or even spiritually where I knew that someone, that particular person, despite claiming not to be a Christian, despite claiming to be agnostic or basically not believing in any kind of particular religious system, I got a feeling someone was actually looking in on me all the time. Like, spiritually the demonic eyes were boring into me. Okay? Trying to find out what I was doing other than sending the flying monkeys. And the eye color changed. The change in the face. The eyes especially. The face changing becomes something very, very demonic. Totally demonic. And it's that we say something about them being shapeshifters, and right? That I saw a picture or some kind of feed of that person from last year. Yeah, before I went off on a trip to Georgia and Armenia. I realized, wow, looks so different now from last time. It's not like the body looks any different or whatever, but it's just that something about the face, the aura. Something's different, something's odd. It's like they're aging, maybe they're aging, they're aging, but because of like things like going under the tanning salons and everything, but something's different, something is odd, something is off. And I told the uncle, spiritual possession is real. You can say that all these shamans are fake, whatever, I don't want to speculate about the origins of what spirit is possessing them. I don't know, and I don't pretend to know, okay? They're not doing evil things, unlike, let's say, the narcissists. But I'm sure that all these narcissists, I told him, all narcissists and sociopaths and the psychopaths are spiritually possessed. Not even spiritually possessed, demonically possessed, okay? The word daemon, again, in Greek, is another spirit, okay? Angels don't possess you. God's Holy Spirit doesn't possess you in the sense that it takes control. You make you do things that you don't want to do. Okay, that's not how God works. So, yeah, spiritual possession, and for them to do things that like change their face or take on certain kind of qualities that you don't expect people, or you didn't expect them to actually have. that can't be human. Okay, that's spiritual. I remember that someone like a man said something. It was on the forum for survivors of narcissistic abuse. He said that his ex, this was a gay man who was telling us. He said, "Was my ex possessed?" He said, "Oh." He asked us this question. He could jump from the ground to the second floor of our house where we used to live together, and something about his face, he's not human again. It's like very animalistic, like a beast. I said, wow. They all seem to have the same kind of traits. It's like they seem to take up something from the kind of same playbook, regardless of culture. You know, whether it's Asian culture, whether it's Western culture, American culture, or elsewhere. Yeah, I just think there's another totally different spirit. I'm not sure what kind of spirit. Could be the devil, could be something else, could be. It's just not a good spirit, okay? So that kind of thing that kind of makes me realize, you know, I'm talking about possessed love while I'm walking out here under all this thing with all these joysticks and all this kind of stuff being burned, and then my friends will probably be asking me, "Are you scared?" No, I'm not really scared. I don't think spirits are as scary as humans, especially narcissistic humans or evil, toxic humans. Because why? These are the ones who actually open the doorways for all these spirits to come into them under consent, or sometimes without knowing it, sin. You know, like sinful trauma can do that, but sin especially. Evil things can make people who are doing a lot of evil, they have a lot of spirits in them, very evil spirits. You don't know what kind of evil spirit. I can just sense it. So okay, the thing is this. I mean, I'm gonna like creep out a lot of people. You keep on talking so much about all this thing about spiritual possession, but I mean, I'm talking about dating show where a lot of them actually end up doing things like that. But this is the thing. It's not always explicable. It's not explainable or explicable just via science. Okay, you can't use neurology or whatever just to explain everything. These people are that way because they have opened the doors, like this evil narcissist. They have opened the doors to some spirit, okay, or spirits, a legion of them, who knows, to make them do this kind of stuff. They're under the influence. They're not necessarily possessed, because possession is a very extremely different category. It's like you're totally taken over by the spirit or spirits. But some part of it is not necessarily, they just that. This is like influence. The spirits give you some power, but you are fully aware. That's the scariest thing, because you choose to do it. Okay? And I think a lot of narcissists and psychopaths are like that. They are very aware. They just don't care. Okay? They have no conscience, no empathy, no heart. Their soul. I don't think there's ever a soul, but people will say they sold their soul to the devil. Yeah, probably they sold their soul to the devil without knowing it. There's a kind of contract. I think the contract is in blood. Maybe not literal blood, but in their blood, as in, yeah, you don't want to have anything to do with them, like accept like kind of donation of blood from them, whatever. So that was a thing. And okay, there was another point talking about this whole thing about spiritual possession in narcissists and everything, and also about the thing about concerning tarot card reading coming true. The first one was that tarot card reading came true, and then second one was spiritual possession in narcissist. The third point I want to talk about was actually more like why is there a need to keep on doing it often. Because the strange thing was that the lady on the Mudang, that particular Instagram website or handle, she said, "Oh yeah, these people are every minor decision or even small thing as to whom they have to pick, they keep on doing their so-called Saju reading, their tarot cards, or their flag divination and everything, or even ring the bell." Like that was what Ham Soo Hyun was doing. She was always ring the bell to ask for some revelation from her god or deity. It was like, she said it's so reliant. But yeah, and another poster or reader of that particular Instagram post was saying that too. And I said, but you know one thing, I think from my point of view as someone who has done tarot for quite a long time before I stopped doing it, and mind you, even after stopping tarot card reading, I still think I haven't lost my intuitive abilities. And these intuitive abilities that I had they existed even when I was a Christian, even before I started doing tarot reading. Things like the ability to read someone, or having some kind of intuitive message where I know that I'm not supposed to meet that person, but I end up realizing, that I still went ahead and I'm thinking that it was nothing, but then ending up really realizing that that person was a groomer. That person was a so-called ex-groomer or ex-narcissist. And yeah, I remember back to the whole thing about why. I said the third point that I want to talk about was this thing: why do we keep on doing it? Like if like these people, like the Mudang, who's a Mudang herself, what does she say that we shouldn't be doing that? But I said, the thing is this: we do a lot of these kind of things. Like we seek psychics, we seek mediums, psychic mediums, like even witches, alleged witches and shamans. Why do we do that all the time? Or even we are the ones who are doing it. We are the tarot readers. We are the fortune tellers. We try to read our own fortunes. We try to consult this so-called higher or lower powers, whatever we call that, just to get a message from somewhere else, from beyond ourselves. Then from outside of ourselves, from outside of our heads, okay, in the spiritual or psychic realm. Why do we do that all the time? And I just wrote something, and I realized that I was I'm not trying to defend anyone, not even myself. Just say that I admitted it myself, because I said, the thing is this: when I was in my last so-called relationship, not really relationship, I call it a situationship, but I did tarot card reading very avidly, and I realized that there were facts like things that revelations like lying, cheating, betrayal, a third party involved, which all came true they were extremely accurate. Then I just said something, I wrote something actually in Instagram, the comment. I said, I realized that when we are really anxious, even if we're not supposed to do that, we keep on doing that. We seek out all these so-called external sources for some form of validation. I think that is very strange, because that Dr. Ramani, the Devusula, she's a clinical psychologist. She talked about that in one particular video or interview. She said people who find psychics or tarot card readers, especially in the middle of a narcissistic relationship, it's not. She doesn't put any judgment on that. She said it's just that there's a tendency to actually believe it, because we are trying to find some form of external validation, and of course, the problem is that when we find that some of these readers they don't actually, or psychics, they don't tell us to leave. They just want to find us reasons how we can improve the thing. If you can even improve, it can't be improved, but they give us the kind of false hopes that we're not supposed to have. And the irony is this: everyone told me, the strange thing was when I was doing those so-called psychic readings or intuitive readings via tarot card reading for myself, the cards were telling me it's going to end. All communication between you and the person will end, and you won't even be so-called acquaintances or friends, because it's a very I got the death card. Okay, the death card was not literal death, but the end of the particular relationship or situationship or whatever. The form of release. Okay, that's the way you to read the death card. And it was actually crazy. It was a few times on different decks. At that point in time, I had two decks: the Arturian deck, the Legend deck, and then I had a Rorich Tarot, the Ukrainian deck, which had a mix of different religious traditions, including Russian Orthodoxy, which was something very close to my own home tradition of the Ukrainian Orthodox. So, can you imagine? That kind of thing aside, just the whole thing about being so anxious and trying to seek external validation. Okay, there's someone, the doctor. So okay, I don't know. Give someone some the weird eye, whatever. But the whole thing is this: we don't need to find that kind of external validation. So I think that kind of made me realize, just watching that one episode with a different, which was being split up into a few parts, okay, and watching them on YouTube, it kind of made me realize, oh wow, I could jolly well be one of those characters in in possessed love, because I came from the kind of tarot card reading background as well, and then I probably still think that I have still some. I used to tell my friends. One friend was like, "Does it scare you if I tell you that I have some clairvoyant or clairsentient ability?" I said, "Probably not, but I guess that you say that you don't have something evil in you." No, I don't think so. You don't want to hurt people or use people. No, I don't feel any need to, because why should I? That's not my kind of character or my kind of thing in life. So I just told him, like, what do you feel like? Well, some people are gonna get really, really scared of it. Yeah, I think so. Some people call you a freak. I said, oh no, it's not just a freak, but the ex-groomer used to call me a freak. There was one point where like the ex-groomer was with a friend, a so-called buddy or whatever, but and then heard me. I was taking a nap, whatever, or sleeping. Then obviously they heard me talking in my sleep. They thought that I was talking like I was like just talking in my sleep. That's all. But no, I was dreaming something. Okay, I was dreaming something, and I saw something in my dream. So and my whole sense of it was like, I saw that dream of the box, a black box. I shouldn't describe that black box too much, but it scares people off when I tell them about it. I actually drew it out on my diary, a black box with silver tendrils on the front, surrounding a keyhole for which there's no key, but yet the tendrils are unwinding. As the tendrils unwound, the keyhole also started turning and started opening, and so I saw into the contents of the box. It was pitch black darkness, and then as the pitch black darkness started sinking to my eyes, I saw it. The ex-groomer fell in. I think I know what it means now. Like, I mean, there was a period of time I didn't realize. I thought, it scares people. You have all these psychic dreams and everything, but I said no. This I talked this through with a psychologist about this. She said to process it and everything. She said part of the PTSD is linked to all these things, with those things, and including dreams that are triggered by the trauma, and especially during the trauma anniversary and during the discard period. Yeah, so I told her this thing. I said you have to process it by facing it, but you have to put it away as well, and before you go back and face it again eventually. That's how we that's how, as the psychologist told me, that's how we process trauma. We face it for a period of time. We desensitize the way that it can trigger us, so that we don't get triggered anymore. And then when we have finished facing it after a period of time, we put that so-called thing, in my case it was a black box, we put it aside, and we could be in another basket or whatever, and then we stop facing it for the time being, until we are ready to face it again. Okay, so that's how we gradually diminish the impact it has on us. And then I think that after this whole thing with the episode, that thing with possessed love, it's very interesting. I know that people would be wondering what they want to know more about what I feel about this, but I'm just telling them now, everyone now about this in this video. Sometimes I'm stuttering or stammering, but because I'm trying to phrase my thoughts. There be people who are scolding vulgar words and saying things at me. They're horrible, mean trolls, but you know what? I'll just delete them anyway. There was someone who actually swore vulgarity in my life. I was like, but YouTube is not dumb. YouTube actually blocked the person and held the remark, and I actually blocked the person. So they can go to hell for all I care. I don't really care. But but back to this whole thing. What possessed love actually, the kind of lessons are things I kind of took away from watching it. Just one episode, and I started having all these kind of revelations. And it's not conclusive. What am I going to do next with this? Some people was ask me, like one friend just now in the gym was telling me, Kevin, now that you're telling me about all this, have you decided to embrace all this as your gift? What kind of gift? You mean to become a fortune teller? Oh no, please. I tried doing it for friends before, and they all said you seem to be quite accurate. I don't want to do it anymore. I just don't want. I mean, maybe I can give you some insights into a character, but please don't make me do that because I hate the idea that what I will say will come true, even if it's a warning or even if it's just like something bad. Because it's as one friend used to tell me once. He said the best kind of future is the kind that you actually create. I agree with him. I haven't been talking to him. He's now like he's no longer operating a new age store, spiritual shop. He's left it. He's actually gone to work in Ultimate Performance as a personal trainer. Not Ultimate Performance here, but Ultimate Performance in Hong Kong. He's a Hong Konger. He was like in Canada for a while. So I think his wife still follows me though. His wife is a very nice girl. Yeah. So I'm not sure how he is right now, but either way, what he said was true. The best kind of life or destiny is the one that you create. So you know what? That's one thing. We create our own destinies. Isn't it meant to be the kind of thing? But that's it. There's another thing. What is the other thing? I think I can embrace myself. People say, you're weird or you're scary, Kevin. Yes, thank you. I love it. I love myself. I'm weird. I'm scary. I have psychic abilities. I think I could be very high in my intuition. Whatever, but I embrace it. I used to say, how weird is it that I have all these kind of things, these experiences? But you know what? I told myself eventually, Kevin, that's what I told myself. Stop thinking of everything as weird. You're not weird. Those experiences are not weird. They're only weird to people who don't understand them. Maybe those are the people who think you're weird, actually the real weird ones. Yeah. So, yeah, but I love it. I plan to be like, the character of Cardi B in Hustlers, where she, J-Lo's character tells Constant Woo's character, hey, this is Diamond from the Bronx. Let her teach you how to do some lap dancing, like a stripper lap dancing. She said, Cardi B's character said, oh damn, I'm good at it. You know what? I plan to do that with my spiritual abilities. I plan to embrace it. Okay? So I'm good at that. Okay? I mean, of course, please don't. I'm not gonna tell my priest about everything about this thing, but I don't do summoning or spirits, and I don't want to invoke them. Neither do I do that anymore. But I'm just like, okay, this was my past. These were my experiences. You know what? I'll just accept them, and then leave it as it is, and then I should just embrace it, So at least one thing, everyone was telling me, do you realize that, Kevin, that those so-called, even when you're doing your cards, they were looking out for you to tell you that you are in a very bad situation. It's like, oh yeah. I mean, if they were telling me that too, so I guess that everything in the universe is actually looking out for me. Okay, so anyway, I've been talking a lot, and yeah, I'm actually done with this whole thing. I'll talk a little bit more about what happened the night before my trauma anniversary. That was actually just the last weekend, actually. In fact, on not the last weekend, the weekend before last, yeah, on the 27th of July. But for the meantime, I'll just leave that aside. Okay, so have a good one, everyone. Okay, bye bye.